Reports from the World Bank and the United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund have revealed Ghana ranks first in teacher absenteeism in West Africa. According to the reports, teacher malingering is the major contributory factor to the low performance of pupils and students in public basic schools in the country. A Deputy Minister of Education, Alex Treme, made this known at the Stakeholders Forum on Education at Doma Ahinkro on Thursday. Treme, who is the Member of Parliament for Techiman South, urged regional and district directors of education to collaborate effectively with metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives to strengthen supervisory roles by paying unannounced visits to basic schools at short intervals. Minister of Education, Professor Jainana Opoku-Agyeman, last year disclosed a policy of zero tolerance for absenteeism will be operationalized. Officials from the ministry as well as the Ghana Education Service are expected to pay unannounced visits to monitor activities of teachers in these public schools. So how come Ghana has been ranked top in West Africa as far as teachers' absenteeism is concerned when we introduce a zero tolerance for absenteeism? And it's Hafiz on Education is here with me in the studio. We'll try and find an answer to that question and perhaps look at the matter further over the next few minutes. You're welcome to the program.
My pleasure.
Are you surprised by the outcome?
No, not really. I'm surprised that we top West Africa. But, you know, I've been doing training in this country since '96, and not once have I seen any supervision in the schools. And also, many times, you know, you go to schools and the children are there by themselves. You know, like there's no leadership in those schools. The teachers take things for granted. And then, you know, human beings have a tendency, you know, to take things seriously if they are not being monitored and being supervised. So I think the time has come where we have to really focus on supervision, because it's rare. I mean, you know, you can't expect that in a private school because there's supervision there. So I'm glad that we are discussing these things now, because we can have good results if those who are supposed to help our children perform themselves are absent.
Last year, the Ministry of Education introduced a zero tolerance for absenteeism, which meant that if you didn't go to school, it will be deducted from your salary. One would imagine that that's being implemented could have solved the situation so that at least we wouldn't be top in West Africa, all of the sub-region.
You know, saying you're going to do something and doing it are two different things. You know, there are thousands of teachers in the system. And now these days with ICT, we should be able to monitor ins and outs of teachers. So it's one of the things too that the Ministry of Education is supposed to do, which is licensing teachers. I think it's a fantastic idea. But then this is all talk, you know. Somewhere along the line, we have to be able to use the ICT to do the proper monitoring. If, you know, if teachers find out that by not coming to school on a particular day, they're going to be docked. Docked is an American expression, which means they're not going to be paid for the time that you're out. Then, you know, these things will happen. I mean, the time has come when we have to begin to understand that we have to take on a certain responsibility as the people that we look up to upgrade our system, you know. But the leadership in the education sector is key, you know. And I keep saying this, like I grew up in a village, and teachers weren't paid that much, but they were there all the time because there was supervision. I mean, these days, we have to begin to also, you know, what we keep saying is this: we cannot continue doing the same things and expect a different result. You know, I mean, I was growing up, the population of Ghana was 6 million. Now we are 25 million, going on 30. So decentralization at the school district is key, you know, so that we take the responsibility for monitoring and supervising teachers at the district levels. That will be much easier to do at the district level than someone in Accra who is trying to give orders. It hasn't worked. It hasn't worked. And I don't see why we continue doing the same thing.
How can we use ICT to check teacher absenteeism?
What happens is that, like when I was teaching in the US, you know, I was licensed. And by being licensed, what it means that anytime you clock in a school, it's recorded permanently. You know, when you take extra courses, it's recorded permanently. In fact, the amount of money that you receive on a month-to-month basis is recorded consistently. So what ICT will do is that the numbers are huge. So why not use computers? So the time has come now to begin to do those things. And also, when teachers find out that they are being docked for not being there, then you think twice about not going to work. So I mean, other places are doing it, and it will also mean that even at the school side themselves, now people are we are doing this even by the thumb, where when you come in, you press your thumb, it registers you. When you're leaving, you do the same thing. So we need to bring in some technology in these things. The word of mouth that the ministries, that officials are talking about, frankly, I don't see it going anywhere. We have to kick in the ICT to make these things happen.
I just let you hold on a bit. King Ali Awudu is Communications Director for the Coalition of Consent Teachers. It's a group of teachers. I'm sure you know about them. And he's joined our conversation over the telephone. King, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity.
Absolutely. How does this come to you? The fact that teachers in this country are topping the absentee list across the sub-region, West Africa, that is.
Thank you very much. I first want to put on record that such statistics about certain sectors of the Ghanaian economy, where those sectors of the Ghanaian economy are found topping in certain statistics in the West African sub-region or what have you, is not new to the system. So many other researches have been conducted, and certain aspects of the economy has been set to top. But the question I want to pose to authorities of this country is that what kind of alternative research have they also done to come out to counter what the international bodies are saying as teacher absenteeism in Ghana being the highest in the sub-region? When we as a country do not even have the statistics to back what those international bodies are saying, then what will happen is that we are all disgracing our nation as a whole. Because one time they will do statistics and tell you the police service is stopping this. Another time they will do statistics and tell you the health service is this. And it has happened over the years. This year is this sector, the next year is this sector, the next year is that sector.
And so, King, for you, this is not reflective of reality.
It is not reflective of
reality. Okay. Now, here's my question, King. What have you also done in your own way to know whether or not those members within the coalition are actually in class all the time?
Thank you very much. If you follow the activity of Coalition of Concerned Teachers, for example, from last 2 weeks to now, we are sharing motorbikes to all our district offices. And the reason why we are giving them the motorbikes is to go around the schools under their jurisdiction to make sure that members of the Coalition of Concerned Teachers are in the classroom teaching. You see, we as a Coalition of Concerned Teachers, with quality education our concern, will not show any teacher who does not go to the classroom to perform the services for which he or she is paid at the end of the month. But what I'm saying is that teacher absenteeism cannot be zero in any country, not even the United States. Now,
but when you're said to be topping the list, it also becomes disturbing.
So what I'm saying is that, you see, the rate at which we as a country, we don't even do monitoring, because if there is teacher absenteeism, it's in the General Education Service and the various district directors of education must share part of the blame, because we have service security supervisors that are supposed to go around the schools to make sure the teachers are in the classroom teaching. So those people that are supposed to do the monitoring, are they really doing it? And if Ghana is talking in terms of teacher absenteeism, which list the security supervisors that go around to check teacher absenteeism, do they have any list to show it to the country that in the year under question, I went and this number of teachers were not in school, so they can be sanctioned appropriately. But when we come out and generalize everything, I see teachers in general do not even go to the classroom to teach. It is not the best, and it is not helping.
But here's the other thing. You are a teacher. You are expected to be, first of all, disciplined yourself, enough to be able to discipline the child you're teaching. And so if you are also waiting all the time to be supervised well enough before you can go to the classroom, a job for which you are paid at the end of the month, then where is this country headed?
Thank you very much. You see, we are a human institution. We have more than 300,000 teachers in this country. The statistics that came out to say that we top the list of absenteeism, I don't know the number that you quoted. There's part of about 300,000 teachers in this country. How many of the 300,000 teachers have absented themselves under the period and the review? You understand? So that when you tell us that maybe 20,000 have absented themselves, 10,000 have absented themselves, we do the statistics, then we know that whether it is in the majority or the minority, as a human institution, it will be very, very difficult for us to be able to make that, we are going to get 100% when it comes to attendance. It is highly impossible. Because many people might not also go to school due to one or two things.
Okay.
See,
Now, King, just hold the line for me. Okay. Anis Hafa is an educationist. We started a conversation just before you joined us. Anis, okay, what do you think about what King has said so far?
Well, he made reference to the United States. You know, I taught in the school district there for about 10 years. You cannot be that absent and be paid for it. Frankly, you have a certain number of days in which you can have excused absences. After that, if you get absent, you don't get paid for it. But then it's all computerized system and that sort of thing. But I think the point that he's making, though, is that what he's saying is that we need to look at the numbers properly. But it might be a good idea for his organization to take it upon themselves out of efficiency and boosting the morale to find out how people come and when they don't come. But what I would say is that I've done training in particular district where the children are sitting there, no teacher, so they leave. They see me come in as a visitor, and then the teacher, the students, they all come. You know, so the question is this: what is going on? And then the leadership in these schools are very important, in the sense that you can have schools in the same district. Some have more discipline than others. So the leadership is very important. And now the point that I want to raise is this: when we have people as district executive officers, they need to have a particular kind of expertise to be able to guard these schools. And it's not a political slogan. It's the ability to be professional in what it is that you do and set up systems where you can now begin to know how efficiently the schools are being run. It's not a political thing now. We need expertise. Now, the problem, what bothers me really, is that the BEC results are getting so bad. You know, some people call and say that it's 50% failure rate this year. Last year it was the same thing. So if we extend it for next year, that's fine. But we can't accept that. We can't look down, we need to look up for the sake of the children. Because we cannot have a society that is moving on in the 21st century when those who are responsible for bringing the young people up are themselves, you know, taking it easy on their own terms. We can't have that. That discipline needs to kick in. And I hope you can help in this organization.
And precisely my question to you, King, how can we make the system better?
That is a question.
By which we can make the system better. For example, yes, it is true that people that have been employed to do the job should do the job. If they know they cannot do, probably they should put the job down.
Which job are we referring to here? The teaching or the supervisory role?
I mean the teachers. I mean the teachers. We've been employed to teach. So you are expected to go to the classroom to teach, even if nobody is there to monitor you. But at the same time, it is also true that proper motivation must also be provided to push the person also to the classroom. It is also true that the people that has also been employed by the same educational system to go run and monitor and supervise the teaching and learning must also be given the necessary logistics to go run and monitor. It is very, very true that in an organization where people have been employed to work in masses, we are not talking about small numbers. We are talking about thousands of people, and monitoring is not going on. The second supervisor do not have the logistics to go around. These directors of education just sit down in their offices, do not go around to monitor schools. There is by all means a possibility that you will get some recalcitrant ones that will take advantage of the system and will not go to the classroom to teach. And they will give so many flimsy excuses. So the system itself must be flashed. Let's put proper systems in place. Let's increase our rate of monitoring. Other than that, we as a union, for example, it is not even our role to do monitoring. But we are taking it upon ourselves that we are providing motorbikes to our district executives so that they will go around and make sure that anybody who is a member of the coalition of concerned teachers does not absent him or herself in the classroom.
I see, King. So many thanks for your time on this one. King Ali Awudu is Communication Director for the Coalition of Concerned Teachers. So he's outlined some of the things they need. Will that help the system?
I doubt it. What I suggest, though, I mean, when I was teaching, I mean, it didn't take someone from outside the organization who came to supervise me. Supervision is done at the school sites. So back to the district assemblies, I mean, that's very important. We don't expect someone to come so far away to do the monitoring or the supervision. It doesn't work. The transportation, the time, and everything else. It has to be done at the district level. Every school should begin to see itself as a cost center. And I keep saying that even the training have to be done within the district themselves. We have about 38 training centers, but it's not enough. But the other reason, though, that I think human beings absent themselves is the lack of a sense of purpose. You know, you want to go into a classroom confident that you are sufficiently prepared, you feel good about what it is that you're doing. Those elements have to be factored in. And at the end of the day, it's how we develop the expertise of our teachers. When your expertise is developed, then you see yourself as a professional. Otherwise, like, oh my goodness, what it is that I'm going to do today? What do I have for the children and that sort of thing? All these things have to be taken care of. And we have to bring in the quality, beginning at the district level. I keep saying this all the time. But waiting for someone to come chasing on a motorbike, I don't see how that's
this
going to
has
work.
nothing to do with whether or not you have the incentive to be in the classroom you are in, because then he raised the point of the teachers should be given the necessary tools they need to teach. That is an incentive enough for them to go to the classroom.
There are all kinds of things that need to be done. But speaking as a professional, one of my motivators is that I'm sufficiently prepared.
Okay.
I see myself as a professional. Other things can be added to it. But the worst thing that can happen to anybody is to go to work and not feel that you're up to the task. And I see that all the time.
Will government's bid or intention to embark on unannounced visit help at all?
You know, there are about 12,000 basic schools in this country. Do they have 12,000 motorbikes to go around doing these kinds of things? I mean, we have to be realistic. And also, again, ICT is important in the sense that if we have a system where, even in Accra, you can monitor the attendance in particular schools, it has to be done. You know, it's not a big deal anymore. You know, so ICT has to be kicked in, but then the practical elements have to take place too. It's more efficient to do the supervision at the school sites. That is very important. But to wait for some ministry official who's comfortable than air-conditioned officers to leave that comfort and go into some other places and do it, it doesn't work. That's why it's not happening. But we should stop those promises, and the things have been put in place. I don't see anything that has been put in place. We have to be realistic and make sure that the DCs and their representatives there in the community themselves are part of it. But then the other thing, too, that I've been told is that some of these teachers are political agents there. So they can leave whenever they want and come whenever they want, and you can't touch them. So, I mean, we have to factor some of these things in. But key is that there has to be a person needs to walk into the classroom, or any job for that matter, prepared to give up their best. And the children can respect that. One of the worst things that happen to teachers, though, I've been a teacher myself for years, is where you walk in and you're not prepared, the children can tell. And then you lose your own self-esteem, or even the way you are valued by the young people. So the preparation is key. This
important.
is the 21st century, and I think we need to really do much better than what we've done in the past.
I'm totally grateful for your time, Anis. Anis Hafa is an educationist.